Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Aaron here. Aaron, you're the founder and creator of the Soapstone Comedy Club, which is a comedy club that's in the Meta Horizon world. So you've got this whole digital comedy club you can go to, you can meet people there, you can experience it, and it's really the future of what comedy can be. I mean, you've got this experience; anyone in the world can attend the same show at once and feel immersed in it. And you've now got some other really exciting stuff that you're doing as well, that you're making that's inspired by what this has been able to accomplish. So I'm excited to have you here and to get into your story.
Hey, thanks, Ben. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, how did your interest in this whole world of comedy and merging it with technology, like how did this passion of yours begin? Because it's such a unique space. I haven't really heard of anyone doing anything like this.
Yeah, so Ben, it's been a wild journey to get to where I am, and it started actually from a place of challenge and some struggles. I had a nice grown up job as a marketing director for a company, and actually left that job to address alcoholism in my life, and went through a season of recovery. Thought that might take a couple weeks and I'd get back to work. A couple weeks turned to a couple months, and ultimately it ended up being over a year of searching for work and unemployment. And that was a pretty rough time. But that was a time of rediscovery of who I was, and finding a new passion, a new calling. And from that, I discovered comedy, stand up comedy. Just normal transition there, and started performing as the unemployed alcoholic, and started doing comedy and producing comedy shows and that. And then when the pandemic came along and hit, ended up needing to find a new way to express myself, a new way to add value and help people laugh. And I found that in the metaverse.
Mhm. So you were spending time in the metaverse just as somebody kind of enjoying it beforehand.
I actually was not involved in the metaverse, and really not super techy, to tell you the truth. It came from the desire to help people laugh and to build a comedy club in virtual reality. So it's funny because now we're a gaming studio, a tech firm, and as well as a comedy production company and a great community of people. But all of that came as a result of the mission of trying to help people laugh.
Hmm. So so you started doing the stand-up comedy stuff, and like when did you start to realize like I should just do this digitally because there's maybe other competitors in the physical world who else is doing anything digitally? When did that kind of happen?
So it happened when it became illegal to do it in person.
Uh,
When the pandemic, COVID came along, it people weren't gathering, and all of a sudden this new way to add value and even earn money um, became not an option. So I started looking for alternatives, and I found that in the metaverse, and it was great timing. It was right when Horizon Worlds was getting ready to launch publicly, and so I ended up coming in the tail end of the beta, and met some great builders, some people of the platform, and then launched the Soapstone Comedy Club right as it went public, and that kicked off just an amazing adventure.
That's awesome. What did it take to build something like this? Because it's so different and so unique. And like, how did you figure out the whole structure of monetization and everything like that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. All the time, if I'm in the Soapstone in virtual reality, people will come up and they're like, "Oh, you're the world creator. How long did it take to build this?" And my answer is the same every time. Well, we've been working on it for 3.5 years. It's not a start and finish. It's an evolving product and project for sure. But the way that I've been able to do this successfully is through collaboration. This space and all of the different aspects that go into it, it's far too much for one person to be able to master. So I've been real fortunate in the fact that I've been able to attract an incredible group of people that all have a common mission and mindset, and we've been able to work together to make magic happen.
Mhm. So 3.5 years, you said.
Yeah, it was about 3.5 years ago when I first put on a headset and jumped into virtual reality.
Uh-huh. So how did you figure even out how to build something like this? Like, was this just, yeah, like how did you figure out how do you want it to look, what it was going to be like, how people can enjoy it? Like how did you kind of think about the architecture and even go about building that technically?
Yeah. So initially, how did I figure it out? Poorly. I came in and knew nothing about building. A friend of mine who actually still is a collaborator today by the name of Sensei J in the metaverse. He had posted on a little chat group that he was willing to give away this world that he had called the community theater. And I thought, okay, this is a good starting point for a comedy club. And so he and I met, and we hung out in virtual reality for about 45 minutes talking about my vision of, okay, what I want to do. And he's like, yeah, have at it, and so I poured blood, sweat, and tears into trying to do this. And then another friend of mine came in, and I was like, what do you think? And she said, well, it looks like a kindergartner built
Mhm.
it. And I said, well, can you do better? And she said, absolutely. And I said, well, let's work together then. And that kicked off an initial collaboration, which again has blossomed into a really fun win-win scenario for a lot of individuals.
That's amazing. So, what did it take to throw the first event? Like, how did you pull the first event off? Is it just something you did internally? And like, what was that experience like for you, Aaron?
Yeah, so initially it was interesting because as soon as we launched, I thought it was going to be the major headliners that the professional comedians coming in that people would want to come in and watch. And granted, that is a part of it, but much more so, it's giving people the opportunity to shine.
Hmm.
What happened that I didn't expect was the open mics, the chance for people to come get on stage and tell some jokes or sing or do their own podcast. That opportunity to express themselves and through an accessible stage that became much more so the draw than even the big shows that we do and have done.
Really? Huh. And yeah, that surprised you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I came into it with a mindset of, conventional comedy
Right.
where, there's somebody on stage and there's an audience that comes to watch. And again, that is a very fun piece of it. I mean, we've had some phenomenal headliners come in and put on spectacular shows. But that's about 5% of it, maybe. The other 95% of it is empowering other people to kind of fulfill their fantasy, their dream of being able to perform and entertain people.
Hmm. So people just kind of get up there, like, or is it there's a whole pre-planning process to it?
Well, so it's there's a combination of ways that people can perform.
Uh-huh.
One is just like what you said. People can come into the Soapstone and go up, and there's this little button that you press to sign up for stage time, and a pop up will say it's your time to shine, and then you get on stage and you get 3 minutes of glory,
Wow.
and you've got an audience there that's there to applaud you or sometimes let you know that you're not quite cutting it. And so that's the real casual way. And then we also have shows like people that are aspiring comedians. They can sign up for our $1,000 spotlight comedy auditions, which happen on Mondays, and they actually will perform with a whole handful of people and perhaps be selected to move on to the finals. And then if they are selected in the finals, they actually land a real life $1,000 gig to perform comedy as an opener for one of our other bigger shows.
Hmm. So how does the monetization model work for all this, Aaron? What did you figure out there?
Yeah. So, one thing to really consider about anything virtual reality is this is the very entry levels of time. This is everything is a giant sandbox where people are kind of figuring things out. So you do kind of have to come into it with the idea of um, we just need to come in and create value and then we'll figure out the monetization later. But through that approach, I've been able to be part of Meta's creator fund, where they actually have $50 million socked away for this year to help creators monetize and build things. And then I've also been able to collaborate with Meta on a number of different projects of bringing in headliners and actually producing shows for the platform itself.
Oh, very nice. Do you like the Meta Horizon platform? Like, it is an interesting platform. I mean, it's one that's it's fairly new. in the world of platforms in general, and VR is also fairly new. So you're like a really it's shifted from like just early adopter now with the price point of the headset. So you've got a lot more people in there, but it's probably pretty unique building on that and being a part of that because I think it's still being built, Meta Horizon.
It certainly is. And, it's interesting because lifelong, I've taken the approach that I'd rather have fewer, deeper relationships than more shallow relationships.
Uh,
And so, where a lot of people come into the virtual reality space and they want to spread out over all of the different apps and have a footprint in all of them, I took the opposite approach to that. I was all in Meta Horizon from day one. And the reason I did that was one, because it felt good. Like the platform itself feels like an up and coming, very very optimistic platform. And then the other thing is, frankly, I felt like Meta ultimately is going to win. You know, there's no company on the planet that's better at the social aspect of things than Meta. And so when I look at where Horizon Worlds is and the trajectory that it's taking, it seems very, very obvious to me that they're going to end up the winner in all of it.
hmm. Why would you say that? Like, could you just break that down a little more? Like, why do you think they'll be the winner?
Sure, sure. So, one, or I'll give you a couple of reasons that I think that. One, they're putting substantial investment into it, both financially and personnel wise. And the people that I work with at Meta, like they are incredibly passionate about this project. Like they're all in on it. It's not some little maybe thing. Like they're making this thing happen. So that's the one thing. And again, when it comes to the fact that this is at its very beginning stages, Meta is really really good at scaling things, and it very much seems to me that when they start putting that gas pedal down, when they start putting the effort into scaling it, it's going to scale quickly, and it's going to be a heck of a ride.
And Soapstone will be there, so all these new people that come in can go right to your club.
Yeah, yeah, it's and the Soapstone already has a good amount of people that come in and are part of it, even in these early stages. But yeah, it's exciting to think ahead to what's this going to look like when the numbers 10x, 100x, 1000x. What's that going to look like?
Yeah, it's a very exciting space. It's something just it's so different and new, and virtual reality is just like so early compared to how big it can be. So you're right at the forefront there.
Indeed, yeah. People like the headsets. It's like we've got like a 1980s cell phone strapped to our face. But what does that mean? That means that as technology advances, and it's advancing very, very quickly, uh, it's going to become more user friendly. It's going to become more integrated into everyday life, and it's going to become a mainstay on how people connect and interact with each other.
Yeah, I think it's going to get there much more too. Um, so when you think about like just discovering talent, like is there a whole piece of this of like people that are being almost discovered in your world because like they actually get a shot to get on stage and traditional comedy clubs it may not be the same. Like can you just talk a bit about like the kind of talent you're finding that's maybe really rare or different?
For sure, yeah. I would say it kind of goes both ways. Like there are talented people in the metaverse that we're discovering and giving a platform to, but just as much there's people discovering that they're talented in the metaverse.
Okay.
There's people that are discovering that they have the ability to get on stage and command a room and get everybody laughing together, and that's the piece of it that's so exciting. And I would even say that there's a third piece of that because we're bringing in professional comedians that are touring the world or the country, and doing this professionally. These comedians that are coming in, they're being discovered by a whole new market. So there's discovery every which way you look at it.
It's amazing. Are you doing comedy as well? Are you getting up there yourself?
I've done a lot of comedy and I enjoy it a great deal. Um, but I have to be honest, I'm awfully rusty. The last time I got on stage and started telling some jokes, I kind of bombed. It was pretty rough. So I've been focusing my effort and intention into being a leader in this space and directing this team of very talented people to create these experiences. And because of that, comedy has fallen a little bit to the wayside. But I do laugh a lot in Zoom meetings and in face to face stuff and all that, and of course in VR.
Amazing. What have you learned from now over a couple thousand events that you guys have done? Like, how has that kind of changed how you think about comedy, how you think about VR, how you operate in general?
Yeah, so I'd say it even goes beyond comedy and VR, just in general. What have I learned in producing over 2,000 events, in VR, and that's the ability to pivot. Because it's a new platform. We've got a plan in place, and being able to identify an obstacle and move around that, and still create incredible experiences. That's probably the biggest thing.
Mhm. Can you go a little more in depth on that? Of like, kind of, do you have any examples of like how that's affected you?
Sure, sure. There's times when hardware or software might act up, and the stress levels will raise a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, we got to get this person in here, and then figuring out the way to make it happen and make for an enjoyable experience for everybody. Super super important there,
Hmm.
and really that's where a team comes into place. This team of people that we have, everybody is there to help other people laugh. Everybody is there to collaborate with each other and make these experiences happen. So when we hit a little bit of a roadblock in one area, we've got a whole team of people that are able to rethink it and pivot.
That's amazing. It's great to have the right people around you. It's essential in all that you do. When you look at like, your recent experience that you've been building around New York City, why take New York City as kind of your canvas, and what's the inspiration meant for there?
Yeah, so we've been the Soapstone Comedy Club for a long time, and our most recent rendition before New York City was Soapstone Comedy Hanalei Bay, and that's set on the north shore of Kauai, which of course is an island in Hawaii, and it kind of had this laid back, cool vibe. Hang loose, laugh out loud was our motto, and the experience itself was an all ages experience.
Huh.
It was for people 10 and up. So what we found is that a lot of the folks that were like 10 through 18, they kind of wanted their space to be able to do what they do, and the people that were 18 and up, they wanted their space. So to have everything commingled, it was it caused some challenges as far as making sure that it's a consistent, great experience. So with that, we started with the idea of, okay, we want to make an 18 up place that might be just a little grittier. It's still clean comedy. We still don't want anybody to get hurt. We still want to make sure it's a safe place to laugh. But adult clean humor is something that's different than family
Hmm.
humor. And so New York just seemed like the absolute perfect spot. So my wife and I, we took the hit, and we decided to go to one hotel, Brooklyn Bridge, and spend a couple nights there and kind of soak up that location. And based on that, we found our spot for it and started building.
It's amazing. Yeah. Why is it that why do you guys have the name Soapstone? Like, what is that kind of based on? It's an interesting name. It's definitely catchy, right from the gate. It's interesting.
That's why, really.
Uh-huh.
And so we like in the very very beginning, I was actually collaborating with another comedy club, and real quickly into that relationship, we figured out that wasn't going to work. So we parted ways, and But we had already gotten started with this virtual comedy club, and I threw it out to the community and asked, "Hey, let's. What do you guys think this space should be called?" And I got hundreds of recommendations, and most of them were terrible. Most of them were already names of things and not real good, But there were actually two separate people, believe it or not, that recommended the name Soapstone, and I practiced saying it. I was like, "Hey, we're going to go to the Soapstone and catch a show," and it made sense. It rolled off the tongue. We're clean comedy, so having soap in there is kind of a nod to that. And then probably most importantly, I did an IP search, and it came up clean, no pun intended. so so that was good, and of course I've now filed and registered the trademark around it, and the soapstone it is and will be.
Sounds good. But what are kind of some of your plans now, Aaron? Like, what are your future aspirations here? Like, if you were doing this comedy club, like typical in person ones, it's let me find more locations, let me go scale that out and build out this brand in person. But you've got Horizon Worlds, there are other virtual worlds. Maybe that's of interest to you. Like, how does this scale? Like, what does scale look like? What does the future look like?
Yeah, what does the future look like? Boy, if I could tell you exactly, it sure would make things easier. But really, so there's been a lot of people that have found purpose.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of people that have found their community, their tribe in the soapstone. And the challenge now, or the next level, is to extend that invitation to more people and allow other people to come in and experience that, where they can get on stage and perform, experience that when they can be part of a team that is producing shows, and they can help moderate, or they can help produce the show, or they can host a show, and probably most importantly, that they can become part of this community that has some common threads that are all driving us in the same direction together.
That's cool. Well, Aaron, that was all the questions that I had. I appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I think it's fascinating what you're doing. It's amazing to see what's possible with virtual spaces. And I mean, you've got so many people that get to, crack a couple jokes up there. Who knows what careers could be launched from that? And it's amazing that you give them that platform. And I think that brands and a lot more creators are going to go this route of virtual worlds and doing something interesting there. And I mean, it's a great way to see, what's possible. And you're already doing something that's successful. So I'm just excited to see what's next. And thanks for taking the time and doing this.
Hey, thanks, man. And once again, thanks for having me on the show.